go to a place. I wanna go to a place. Do you want to go to a place? I wanna go to a place. I can take you there.
Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Welcome to Mosaic with TJ Randolph. I am TJ Randolph and I say I'm a mosaic because I am a beautiful work of art made of many broken pieces. If this is your first time here, welcome. For those of you who've been rocking with me, I'd greatly appreciate it. I know I've been kind of out of these YouTube streets for a while because I've been living life, okay? You understand me? And I encourage you to do that as well. Why am I here tonight? I wasn't planning on it, but the last 48 hours have been so tumultuous. Okay, let's say that word, okay? And I had to speak on this because I'm heartbroken that Rashid and Simone have broken up. I was so rooting for that couple, so rooting for them. From Ready to Love, I have been team Rashid and Simone the whole time. Quite frankly, I haven't even watched the show since. I was watching their YouTube channel. They were so loving, so playful, going to all the things I was telling you about, someone that makes you laugh, someone that you can share your insecurities with. But it seems like he didn't quite do that completely. So the other day when he did his Confessions of a Flawed Man, I was almost in tears. I was almost in tears, I say. I really was. Because, you know, seeing this big, beautiful smile in what appeared to be a jovial spirit from this man, you know, to see him look so beleaguered right now, okay? Understandably so. And I can only imagine what Simone is feeling because as a woman myself, trying to find that right man and believing that you actually got it, only to find out much of what you thought to be true was a lie. So I'm going to set the stage for you. You know, his video was about 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I'm not going to go into the whole video, but I want to set the stage for you. He talks about, he comes in and says, this is a sad and yet glorious occasion, and I'm paraphrasing. It's sad because him and Simone have broken up and have called off the wedding. But he said it's a good thing because he is now, he is in the process of liberating himself from the lies, the deception, that has held him back by his own admission. He also talks about how he got there. How he got there, going back, not unlike many women. Okay, I'm not excusing, but I'm saying I understand. Not unlike many women in his case, as a young boy during his formative years, his parents divorced. And during that time, it was discovered that he had a learning disability, ADHD. His mom was not accepting of that and said, refused, think, you know, my son does not have a learning disability. He is not going to be in special education. And then hearing teachers trying to tell his mother, you know, I don't think college is going to be for your son. He might need to go down that road of being blue collar like his dad was. You know, but again, his mom being college educated, his grandmother being college educated, that's what they pushed him to do. But going into this, he already feels some insecurity and inferiority He does. So what does he do? He overcompensates. He overcompensates. Okay? So we're going to get into the video. I'm going to stop it along the way because I identify with some of this stuff. I really do. I identify with some of this stuff, and I'm saddened for him. I'm saddened for Simone. But, I'm not going to say what I hope for them. I hope that whether they are together or not, that they will heal. I understand if Simone is not willing to take a chance because the man lied. And, I used to, interestingly enough, when I was a kid, I remember getting whippings for lies of omission. And he did that in some cases. And then piled on and piled on and piled on till he was backed into a corner. Okay? So I'm going to get into this video. Let me see, let me see where I want to start it up at. And as I'm doing that, I would ask you to like and subscribe to the channel, okay? Hit the notification bell if you are so inclined. I would love for you to do so. Let's see here. Where do I want to start? Let's start at 17 minutes. Let's start there. Okay, let's start right about 15 minutes.
The camera like it's real publicly. So I'm doing this public.
Uh-oh.
Because
Let's share. Let's go.
I'm over it. I'm freeing myself. And to my real close friends, I'm okay. Trust me, like I'm straight. Like I need this. I know y'all gonna call and I'm gonna take your calls, but I need this, my boys. Like, I just lost another good woman. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes life has to hit you in the face. A couple times, boom, you go back. Boom, you go back. You keep going back. It's almost like you like it. I don't like this place. So I'm doing this to free myself so I'm okay starting from scratch, starting over. Our health is our wealth. I'm 45 years old, but I'm in great shape.
You're in great physical shape, but it is apparent that you're not in great emotional, okay, and mental shape. Because if you were, you would have been able to be free and completely open with this woman, because you would have trusted her more and you would have believed in yourself more. But I understand. I did not have a learning disability, but I came from what would be called disadvantage and ended up going to a high school where these girls whose parents could buy them brand new cars at 16, they had the nice name brand clothing. Of course, they were smart, beautiful. I worked all the way through high school, and it wasn't just so I could buy some clothes. It was to help my mom, make ends meet. So because of that, my grades weren't as good as my best friend at the time, who was number 2 out of our class. And I remember us saying we wanted to go to OU together, and Mrs. Effinger, our English teacher, it's amazing, some things you never forget, told me that I may want to consider going to a junior college, or what they call at the time beauty school, because my grades wouldn't get me there. never considering the fact that the reason why my grades didn't get me there is because, unlike my friends, I was working and going to school as a high school student, whereas all they had to do was go to school. So, but it stays with you. So like him, I was gonna prove you wrong, but I tried to prove people wrong initially in the wrong way. That was a detriment to myself. Not unlike him. Let's go.
It's not over for me. It's not over for other people out there like me who's gone through something similar or is going through something similar or has a child going through something similar. So that's why I'm doing this publicly. Because I just stunned and capped on y'all publicly. So I'll take the public shame and embarrassment because I'm over. I'm done with ego and pride. I got a 10-year-old to raise, and he's about to start really know what's going on. And I don't want him to I don't want him to be me. I'm breaking that cycle. I couldn't break the cycle of divorce in my first marriage. But I'm breaking this cycle right now here today. So when he sees this, he knows that his daddy loved him to death, and I love you so much, son, that I would do anything for you. And anything means you don't have to be what I've become. I'm doing that right now today. Because you mean that much to me. You're my legacy. And you're going to be a great man. Way better than your father. You're going to be a great man in whatever you want to do. You're a kind, beautiful child. Loving, smart, intelligent, a superior athlete. You are my greatest gift and my greatest prize. So the hell with money, cars, houses, clothes, watches. You're my flex, son.
See, this is the problem. You know, we had those issues again when I was growing up. Okay, but you would idolize and fantasize about the movie stars and the stuff that they had. And in my case, you know, some of the people who I went to school with wishing that I could have the same type of cars and houses because they have some beautiful homes. But now you got the whole world to compare yourself to. Who can live up to that? Who can live up to that? And you have grown men and women, but we talk about the men right now. And not just young men, middle-aged men, because 45 is middle-aged, that are putting on airs, as like he said, stunting and flexing. For what? For some people who don't know you and don't give a damn? And that you're going to risk something that you wanted and want? Look, I'm almost in tears. Look at him. Look at him.
Just got to keep it real with y'all, man. A lot of us out there, man, hiding behind this facade and this mask. For what? For likes. Because basically all we're doing is we want people to envy us so they can feel bad and make us feel better.
That's a word. Let me tell you something. Rick James said cocaine is a powerful drug. Social media is a powerful drug. Okay? Social media is a powerful drug that we have become so consumed with the validation of people that we don't even know. That that determines what we think of ourselves. That is bananas to me. But that's where we've come. And it's just not the youngins that are doing it. Case in point. Case in point.
Especially if I'm capping. If it's all fake, then you're trying to get to a fake place that I'm promoting. How about being a good human?
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
You know, views and likes is commerce now.
Yep.
It's a gift and a curse. It has its bonuses. It has its advantages, but it has its disadvantages because we get to hide behind what we show you.
Yeah, I'm looking at the transcript. So, to that point, it's a gift and a curse. But see, that's I listen. I'm transparent. You understand me? I ain't gonna tell you everything because it ain't your business. But I keep it real with you. I let you know I shop at Dollar Tree, Target, thrift stores. You understand me? Yeah. I don't have. I might have some name brands here and there, but that's not important to me anymore. And I say anymore. Okay? What's important to me is that I'm a good person. I'm a kind person. I'm a loving person. And I give love the way I want to receive it.
What we show you. Well, I'm showing you this side. My real side. So anyway, by the time I get to 10th grade, I start catching up with my grade level of reading. Now remember, I already was held back in 2nd grade, right? So, and then I become a rising star basketball player. So I had something to shoot for, right? And mind you, I was already told I'm going to college. I'm going to college. You're going to college, right? We're not listening to that. Nothing's wrong with a trade school, but for my son, no. You're going to be the first man in your family to graduate from college. My father used to say that as well. The Floyd men hadn't gone to college at that point. So it was on me. So now 10th grade, I started figuring it out, right? Started becoming charming, manipulative, right? And I started and I was a good athlete, so we know athletes get some privileges.
The women's.
My mother made sure I was dressed clean. She worked, single mom. She's working hard. Boom. I was always fresh to death, So I started getting the grades, and catching up. Okay, we got something. And then my dad would fade out, and then he called me one night, and I didn't know what was going on. He called me one night. He was high as a kite. I'm I don't know, 13, 14 years old. Well, yeah, high school. Yeah, no, I was 15, 16. And I didn't realize he was high as a kite. He called me. He was like, I need help. I said, Dad, what's wrong? I'm crying. What's wrong? Right? And then, boom. Next thing I know, I don't talk to him for 6 months. And then he'll come back. And then he was at a house with some other men that was living there. But still, this is my hero, man. So, come to find out, I'm later down the road. This is a rehabilitation center. Right? But, as kids, that naivete is so beautiful. It's so glorious. And the naivete that my son has is mind-blowing. But I don't want that naivete, because the world's going to hit him. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want his naivete to be disappointed in his dad and his dad's cap and his dad's bullshit. Because he's going to be better than me. Way better. He already is. And I know that's what parents want. But I mean, he's Zoom. This kid's
Bless his heart.
So I started hooping, boom, 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 boom. Through high school, I'm doing good. I'm getting some notice and ranked and da 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 da. Now, I'm trying to play basketball in college. So I get to college. I graduated high school on time. Right, on time. A little older than everybody. I was 19 when I graduated, which isn't crazy, but it's still, y'all don't understand, that was such an insecurity for me. It still is an insecurity. I'm gonna tell you why. It's like every year when Facebook shows your birth date, right? It shows your age, if you allow it to. My grandfather, who lived to be 95, said, there's only two options when you're getting older. You can either accept it or not, and you die. So anyway, I don't mind showing the age, but every time I think about people that went to school with me that are having birthdays, I'm like, damn, Rashid that much older than me. We graduated together. I laugh at that every year, but it's still, it draws me back to, the insecurities.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. This man is 45 years old, and he's talking about how him graduating at 19, it still bothers him. It's still an insecurity. He's admitting his, whatever prompted him to do it, that's real. How many of us have those? I know I did. I did. Part of me still, for many years feeling like I wasn't as good as my counterparts. So I tried even harder. He talked about his vocabulary. Because there was a time I knew I was pretty, but I didn't think I was that smart. And it wasn't because I couldn't learn. But again, I was working in school. I just didn't have the ability just to focus on school. I had to do other stuff to survive. And I was going to be the first one in my family to graduate from college. Yeah, I get it. Let's go.
So I get to college. I go to JUCO first because I'm a non-qualifier out of high school. And I've lied to people about that. I lied to people and said I went to junior college just because I wanted to test the waters before I went D1. This is cap. We didn't call it cap then. I'm lying. Because I cared about what people thought, people's opinion of me, because people didn't, outside of my family, people didn't think much, that I would amount to much. So
and apparently, you question whether you would too, okay? You question that too. Because not only did you care about what they thought, you didn't think that much of yourself. I get it. I get it. Hiding behind the mask of nice clothes, jewels, a nice vocab. But in the inside, you ain't what you portraying yourself to be. I get it.
Show you. I'm gonna show you. And some of it I did. I'm super proud of a lot of the stuff that I've done. A lot of the stuff that I was able to accomplish. A lot of the stuff that my mom helped me do. A lot of stuff my grandmother helped me do. Tutoring me, who my grandmother was a former school teacher. Reading with me, helping me write, helping me learn how to spell. And I'm still a bad speller. All my friends laugh at me. Even with the word correction on the phone.
As we segue He's talked about how he went to junior college because he couldn't go right into the university uh, right out of high school because he didn't qualify. Me either. I had to go to Central State University, which is called University of Central Oklahoma now, because I didn't have the GPA to get into OU. And then in my case, I went after that first year. I went to join the Army Reserve to get some money to go to college. Okay, so now he's coming full circle, and I want to talk about this because again, we have our motivations for why we do certain things, and he, you know, well, let's just get into it. Let's go. Let's just get into it.
I would always see a kid's perspective and think they should be where they shouldn't. I was like, man, I was just like that, irrational about my talent. But, you know, I got a college scholarship and I was able to play basketball and form some brotherhoods that I'll never leave and always cherish. And I was able to pledge the illustrious Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the Gamma Phi chapter, 2001. And I love my brothers. So I got brothers from home, from high school, growing up. Uh, my brothers on the basketball team are my brothers in the bond.
Okay,
I
let's talk
belonged,
about that.
and they made me
Okay, hold on.
feel like somebody
Mm.
because I was talented and handsome, some would say, and dressed well and spoke well. So it started feeding into the ego because I felt like I'm winning now. I'm beating what the odds were projected. Now, meanwhile, nobody knows that this was told to me. I'm still pushed and projected like the golden child.
Look, I get it. When I pledged my sorority, I became sick. Again, searching for a place to belong, searching for a place to feel good enough, and wanting to be a part of this illustrious sisterhood, which I'm so grateful for. And I blossomed. I blossomed. I was able to show my leadership. I was able to engage. I was able to be socially active, and I dressed nice, and I looked good. I'm with you, but there's still a mask up, though. There's still a mask up. And here's the thing: I want y'all to think about it. And what I think, it wasn't until many years later that I realized when I was in my 20s, 30s, I could not stand to be by myself. I always had to be doing something, partying, my sorority, friends, whatever. I could not be by myself because I could not sit alone with my thoughts. Because in the back of my mind, I was still that person. I was still that person who Ms. Effinger said didn't belong at OU. I was still that person who cleaned buildings with her mom who, the people wouldn't even look at you when you get in their trash. That's what he's doing here. But there's something that he should have done that he will admit that he did not do. Let's go.
I go through college and I meet one of the loves of my life. Little teacher. Now I'm in education. Um, I did my teacher's certificate in education, in physical education. So I was thinking about being a basketball coach or a chiropractor. Uh, Man, and I've always kind of wanted to do certain things my way because I ended up graduating from college with that degree, but my father wasn't there to see it. and he passed of cancer uh, in June 2001. No, 2002, I'm sorry. Because I had just graduated college in May of 2002. And my father was in hospice at that time. Prior to hospice, he knew graduation was coming up, and he would call me doctor. Doctor, doctor, doctor. Dad, what are you talking about? I'm not a doctor. What do you mean? He said, you're a doctor to me, son. I said, why? What do you mean? Because you are graduating college. My son, Rashid Amir Floyd, is graduating from college. You're a doctor to me. And I said that at his funeral. And at that time, I came home and I was, well, after he passed, shortly after that. But the plan was I was coming home to go to chiropractic college, to be a doctor of chiropractic. But life happens, and then, I think I'm marrying my college sweetheart. Shout out to Tabitha. I think I'm marrying her, and, I'm going back to Houston. I'm going to be this chiropractor, and my father passes away. See, when people try to manipulate and use things to their advantage, they use certain events in life. Right? Now, mind you, I think I was going through something, but I knew my father passed at 57, and he had a lot of unfinished dreams and promises he wanted to do. He wanted to start businesses and own something for the family and have a lineage and businesses to pass down. But he was unable to do that. My dad just ended up being a hard-working, blue-collar guy. And that's freaking awesome. But he wanted more and he didn't achieve it. So now I felt like I had to pick up the baton and do it. So I used that, my father's passing, to leave chiropractic. I'm going to Atlanta, moving with my cousin. We moved to Atlanta. We're going to start a magazine. I'm going to start promoting this magazine. They had already started the magazine, actually. And I'm going to just move out there. I got a little money from my father's passing. Let me move out here. And my dad had bought me this new nice truck. I had one of the nicest trucks on campus. And it all built this persona of greater than. And many times I often notice those things, and I try to be extremely humble because I love people, and many times I tell myself, you're not better than anyone, because I was taught that from my grandfather. I was taught.
The more I listen to this, it is clear to me he's been seeking acceptance from his own self for years. Yeah. And looking to things to validate him to feel good enough. But he didn't get there by himself. He had some help. Does that absolve him from the responsibility of acknowledging his shortcomings? Absolutely not. Nor did it absolve me from mine. But it is a shame sometimes that we have to reach rock bottom, and rock bottom looks different for everybody before we get it. Some of us run out of time before we get it.
Not that by my parents, but they poured into me positive thoughts that I could do anything. But to counteract that, when you're told you can't from others, it's two opposite directional tides coming together, and you pulled uh, in two directions: to prove people wrong, or to do what you already knew you would do because you were told you would be that. So anyway, I'll get on with it. So anyway, there's three women in my life that have broken my heart, and I just got my heart broken tonight. The first one was my college sweetheart. The second one was my ex-wife of 10 years, which we had a child. We got married and everything was cool. I graduated college and I was back from Atlanta. That didn't work. I moved back to Houston. I lost all the money that I had, moved back to Houston. But I had gotten my degree in teaching, in physical education. So I got into the school system and I was coaching and teaching. And my wife was an up and coming young professional insurance agent. And, we were living a pretty good life, right? But my decision making started coming back to bite me. So I told you I went to chiropractic college. I went to chiropractic college twice. Went one time, father passed away, I dropped out. So mind you, I had left college with no debt because I was a scholarship athlete. Get to chiropractic. Those loans, I was taking them on like Skittles. Like it didn't have to pay it back. And those loans were not quite as much as actual medical school, but it was more money than I had ever seen. And I took it all. Right? Then I quit. Then I go coach junior college basketball with one of my junior college teammates. And I did that for a couple of years. So now, wait, did I go back? I went back. Quit, boom, I'm sorry. Then I went back. I think I tried to go back for like another month. I'm sorry. I'm jumping around. But anyway, so I get married and we're living a decent life.
Okay, this man cannot keep still. Okay, he's rubbing his head, playing with his ears. I mean, he cannot keep still. Okay, and I'm not a doctor, but I do know ADHD, you're not able to center your thoughts. You're not able to concentrate. You're all over the place. I don't have ADHD, but I do have, anxiety disorder. So, yeah, and major depressive disorder. And so when you are in those states, it is hard to concentrate. It's hard to concentrate. It is. And a lot of time, okay, I'm gonna hold that thought.
My decisions now I'm in debt with this chiropractic loans, right? And I try to figure out, I'll figure it out. That's years from now, I have to start paying it back. I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. Start coaching, blah, blah, blah. Then we get married, and I didn't tell my wife at the time what was going on financially. Here's where the story goes. This is where I'm freeing myself of this. I'm freeing myself of money mismanagement. I'm freeing myself of lying. I'm freeing myself of living outside my means and trying to project this life of perfectness. And it's so much bullshit. It's so much cap.
But the question becomes, and as much as we appreciate you freeing yourself, and I really hope you do, but the question becomes, why do we feel that we have to put on these airs, put on these false pretenses? It's because of what we think about ourselves. And that's a fact. I get it. I took out loans a lot of them. Yeah. a lot of them, about $70,000 worth. And kind of like you, I deferred, especially since I was in the military, I didn't have to pay him right away. And when I got out, I started paying them. At the time I was, I guess that'd be 2015, 16. I was with the guy and we were talking about getting married. And I shared with him my bank statements, and he shared with me his, and apparently, he didn't think that I had managed my money effectively enough to be with him. And I didn't. I never expected him to pay my loans because, they were mine. But, I guess he thought that I should have had more money saved, and I guess I should have. My credit should have been better. I guess I should have. But he decided that he did not want to walk that road with me. Now, he contends that I lied to him. I never did. I told him about my student loans, told him the money that I had or didn't have. But when he decided that he would not walk that road with me, that added to my feeling of insecurity that I wasn't good enough. And a lot of times with my money mismanagement, and I later found that out, when I would have these manic episodes, I would spend money in an effort to, take away, to relieve the pain. I mean, there are certain type of addicts, obviously, or holics, if you will. And it wasn't until much later I started to realize the correlation between the manic or whatever upheaval was going on in my life and how I spent money. But it took me many years to find that, like into my 40s years.
It's taking years off my life, and it's taking years off some people's lives that do the same thing. But I'm focused on me. If this can help someone, great. Never to be divorced, because I did not want to break this. I wanted to break the cycle of divorce in my family. Anybody, you can ask anybody, they'll tell you. Even my ex-wife, she'll tell you. She'll be honest with you. I love love. I'm a lover. I love marriage. I'm a sucker for love. I'm not a cheater. I love the relationship. I love marriage. I love being in relationships. Always been a relationship guy. Even in college. Now, yes, did I cheat in college? Because
that's Mr. Randolph. Mr. Randolph loves love. He loves marriage. He's an athlete. He's mine.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're this athlete. You got the nice car. You got the clothes. Why not? Play the field. But I never saw that. So the financial strain ultimately led to our demise of a 10-year marriage. She felt threatened by the uncertainty and instability of me now, because now I'm a teacher, not making much. I have over $100,000 in debt that she did not know about. She felt that she could not be protected, led, or taken care of. And I get it.
What are your thoughts about that, ladies? It's interesting because in these spaces, you hear men talk about, having to take on a woman's debt. Women have to consider that too. You don't hear nothing about that. Now, what I would contend is the same thing that I wished the guy would have done with me. Instead of completely walking away, I would have hoped that he would have cared about me enough to say, before we walk down this aisle, we're going to have to get a plan, and you're going to have to stick to it, and we're going to have to see some progress. That's what I would have hoped. But he didn't. And that made me feel yet again I wasn't good enough. At that time, I hadn't made the correlation between my spending habits and my mental health, if you will. And so, of course, what did I do? I spent money again. But see, I never had to really worry like he did because I worked for the government. I had my BA, so I had, I knew I could pay my stuff. But that wasn't the point. I needed to learn how to manage it more effectively to make my money work for me and not spend frivolously. Okay, let's go.
That's what women are conditioned to do. And that's what real men are conditioned to do. And that's what I've always wanted to do and conditioned to do and feel it is my place to do. But my decisions oftentimes and most times have prevented me from finishing the deal. And finishing and doing what I say I want to do.
Follow through.
Because I saw it. My grandfather did it.
Follow through.
I can't remember my grandmother grocery shopping. I can't remember my grandmother cooking. My grandfather held her down. And she was an educated woman. He was a hustler, a worker. Like he was a blue collar guy. He wasn't well educated. But he carried himself like a king. And I saw that and I knew the story and I knew where it came from. So uncovering that, I saw what I did or what I caused or may have caused. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking 100% of the blame. But I'll take 90. It takes 2. She's not perfect. But my decisions and me not being forthright and projecting or putting on this facade like I got it all figured out.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm telling you, I ain't shit.
Look, don't do that. Don't do that. You made poor decisions. You're a flawed person. We all are. Don't do that. You just got to do better. Yeah, you got to do better. And the cost of your decision making, you have lost another good woman. But don't diminish and degrade yourself to that point. Don't speak that into existence. Don't do that.
When people see me out, they shake my hand, they respect me. Y'all don't understand. It's amazing. But like, y'all are just really feeding the beast. I love all the people. When you saw me on Ready to Love, I'm being myself. I love being a father. I love love. I love marriage. I have standards, morals, character, but I have character flaws. And I'm a flawed man. And my flaws I've allowed to eat away at me and it disintegrate relationships. And my physical, mental health and wealth. So after that happened, I'm gone. And then ultimately, I wasn't protecting her. I'm protecting me. I'm protecting my ego. I'm protecting embarrassment. So I projected this great, perfect family. Move on, and then I get the Ready to Love opportunity. And go on there and, meet Simone. And Simone dated and fell in love and are in love and been with each other almost since that show ended. we've had a tug of war. You know, neither one of us are perfect. But this guy who did all these things, I was honest with her and told her of my discretions financially and some of the things that I've done, manipulated and lied about and projected to people. And I told her I'm going to change the man.
Mm-hmm.
And we get in this relationship, and she's giving me all the grace that I need. She's like, I know at this point I'm working for myself. I quit another dealership, I'm working for myself, doing the car guides, and I'm selling these celebrities and da 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 da. I'm all over the place. Yeah, I'm balling out of control. And she told me, she knew, she's like, you're an entrepreneur. I know you ain't got enough money. I know you can work towards and get to it. And I will tell y'all this, like, I'm great at what I do. I am a great salesperson. I'm a great coach. I am great at it. But I'm awful at everything. I'm awful at management. I'm awful at managing my money.
Okay, hold up. She said, I know you don't have no money, but I see you. I see you. I see to the heart of you. So again, this has nothing to do with anybody else but how you think about yourself. Because if this woman says to you, I know you, and that's not why I'm here. And something in you, because you didn't feel good enough to be with her, in your own mind, not hers, yours, you kept this from her. I'm gonna tell you something. You know, I've had the roller coaster of dealing with my, or not dealing with my finances effectively. And it culminated when that situation happened, when that man put his hands on me. And it's like that was the triggering event that kind of took me over the edge. So from there, I moved and bought my second home by myself. And I was having it remodeled, so I was spending this money, and I had, you know, credit cards, a lot, a lot of them, and I was, you know, spending money on these credit cards to update my house and buy furniture and all these kinds of things, because in my mind I'm thinking I'm healed from this. But I wasn't. And what I was doing was to take my mind off of what I had just gone through, was to focus on this house and spend all this money. So what I did was, it wasn't that I couldn't pay him, because I could. I was paying my stuff every month and, you know, paying more than the minimums, but it was just became overwhelming for me. Overwhelming for me. So a month before I met Mr. Randolph, I filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Not Chapter 7, Chapter 13. I had to pay all my debt, but it had to go through a trustee. So when I met him a month later, and it was embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie, you know, and I run the risk of him rejecting me like that other guy did. Okay? But I owed it to myself to be honest and just lay it out on the table. I did. I laid it, I laid it out on the table about my money. I laid it out on the table about my mental health. And I wanted him to make the choice, an informed decision. And he took that ride with me. And being with him, he is the control measure when I have those things that I don't go too far. He keeps me centered. And I'm much better. I'm much better. Do I have those moments where I kind of maybe spend a little bit extra? Yeah, I do. But I don't allow myself to go overboard like I did. And he is the rock that keeps me centered. But I laid it all out. And because I didn't want to run the risk of ruining something with Mr. Randolph, like apparently I ruined it with the other guy, but that shouldn't have happened anyway. You know, he wasn't for me. I'm not blaming him for everything, but it worked out to my benefit. Um, yeah. So once I realized that, I come to the realization, okay, this is where you are. You keep doing this is a cycle. So getting the correlation between what happens in my life and me spending money and not managing it, I had to purpose to do something different. And also that was the time too I continued in my therapy to uncover these themes in my life so I could be honest with Mr. Randolph. Now, Mr. Randolph had to be honest with me on some things too. There are some things that he was dealing with, and as a man financially, he was not pleased to share that with me. Because there's a certain amount of pride, okay? There's a certain amount of pride. But we worked through it together. We got out of debt together. Yeah, my student loans got written off because I'm I'm a service connected veteran, so that's one of the benefits. So that was taken out. We worked our plan, got out of debt, paid cars off, put some money in the bank, and we're able to build and come to where we are now. But we both had to be vulnerable and honest, especially if we said we want to build this life together. We both had to get over our insecurities and our embarrassment of the choices that we made. Shout out to Janice Hilton. I really don't watch a lot of her stuff, but she did a show about this, and she said dating is for data. She is absolutely 100% right. The data is the background checks, the credit reports, the blood work, the family history, the family dynamic, all of it. Because I shared with you, if I would have done the background check on that other guy, the who put his hands on me, I would have learned that he had 2 arrests for drug possession. He had arrests for assaulting a female. And I would have saved my trouble it saved myself a whole lot of trouble and physical and emotional scars by gathering the data, not just looking at what he was showing me, but digging and investigating. Because even, learning from that, there were some things some information I asked from Mr. Randolph straight up because I had learned. And he had no problem giving it to me. None. Okay, he says he's a changed man. That's what he tells Simone. But he said he hasn't changed. He's the same lying, manipulative person, selfish person. But we still haven't figured out why. And the why is because you didn't think you were good enough. You keep saying that they didn't think I would amount to anything. Maybe in the back of your mind you didn't either. Because you kept telling yourself and telling everybody else, I can do it, I'm Rashid, but you really didn't believe it. Because if you did, you wouldn't have had to hide behind the accoutrements of success.
Really brought this home to me to know I'm not the only one out here doing it. One of the cars that I'm in debt with, I rented it out to another guy to try to make money, right? I had to end up going to repo my car. Meanwhile, now this debt, because this person had paid for it, now I'm paying for it with all the other stuff I can't afford. So I have to go repo my car. And then I listen and look at his circumstances. He's got a family. He's got children. And you want to potentially judge his circumstance. Why would you put your family in this? Why are you doing this? Why would you? And I looked at kind of his life. I said, I am him and he is me. I'm doing the exact same thing. And the women, meanwhile, that stayed in pocket with us, that's loving us, that's motivating us, that I've had wonderful women in my life do that, I destroyed it because of my ego and me wanting people to love me and say good things about me because I care what people say. I care what people think about me. I'm done caring what people think.
Okay, so your ego, but your insecurity, because your insecurity allowed you to care what other people think as opposed to the ones who should matter the most. Listen, and this is not necessarily about Rashid. You know, this is a lesson he's sharing with you all, and I'm sharing it too. You got to get a hold of it. My heart is breaking for him, but my heart is breaking for her too, because see, I've been that woman at 45, however, in her 40s. And that's time invested. And she's asking herself, how could you say you love me and keep me in the dark like that? How could you say you love me and lie to me? How could you say you love me and bring us into this family and me getting and knowing and loving your son and it's all a lie? How could you do that? And he did it because in his mind that he put on this false bravado, he didn't believe it. And that is why, sweetheart, you need to go to counseling. You need to get some therapy. Seriously. And get to the root of it. So you can find some peace. Because if you don't, you are destined to find yourself here again. And how many times do you have to lose a good woman? And like I said, this message is not just for Rashid, it's for all of us who've fallen short.
And I saw his life. I said, I'm not the only one. I want to help people free themselves from all of the BS that life in this time that we live in has created. It's okay because I know my son is going to love me. My family and friends and loved ones are going to love me unconditionally. Why do I care for the person who doesn't know me from Adam if they love me or like me, or if they don't like me and say negative things about me?
Social media is a powerful drug. Social media is a powerful drug. I'm not going to go too far into it. I think we've dug deep enough. It culminates with him having to cover one lie with another until, pushing back the wedding. And then instead of having the wedding that he promised her, then saying that we're going to have a destination wedding, because in so doing, you're shaving off the cost. But women, we pay attention to stuff. And saying it's not, something ain't right. And with each time we ask and you don't tell us, we're knowing, okay, something, yeah. And that causes us what? To dig further, dig deeper. Before I end this, I want to share this one. Because I looked at a short that they did, and it really hurt. Really did. It really did. And does. I don't know. But okay, one thing I will say, Rashid, depending on the situation, you may want to consider bankruptcy. Now, I'm not sure if you did chapter 13, because the reason why I had to do chapter 13 is because I made too much money. to do a Chapter 7. But if you don't have the requisite income to support, having yours go through a trustee, then maybe you should do a Chapter 7 and start over. Yeah, it'll be a hit on your credit. It'll be a hit on your credit. And what you can do in the meantime, get a job. There's nothing wrong with a job. And ladies, I think it's sad for us because, it doesn't absolve men of their responsibility. But I think it says something about us if a man feels, or if men feel, that a regular old job, teaching job, principal, truck driver, government worker, whatsoever, is not good enough. Because I've had the high value men, if you will. My ex-husband, my daughter's father, was one. Never put on a smile on my face like Mr. Randolph does. And my baby works hard. And what we have built together, it's nothing compared to it. But, by his own admission, he said that he didn't reach out to me because he didn't think a woman, an educated, accomplished woman, would be interested in a truck driver. So I want to share this with you and end with, hopefully, I don't know, that maybe they can find their way back. But if they do, Simone, honey, he'd have to show and prove. I mean. And again, it goes back to some of the men who want to argue, well, why do women need to have their own money? Because of situations like this. Because there are many women who put all of their eggs in the basket. Their husbands took care of all the finances, only to find out that he wasn't taking care of the finances. And the wife had no skill sets. Okay? So there's a reason for it. And again, in as much as, these traditional roles of how marriage should work, that the man manages the finances, the person should manage the finances who is more capable to do it. Yeah, that's who should do it. Whoever. That's who should manage it.
So, have you been on any nice dates lately?
She thinks she's a matchmaker, bro.
I am.
I went on one date. I went on one date a couple of weeks ago, and then that was it. But I ended up telling the young lady that I don't have no space for nobody right now. Ration out what they're able to give you. So especially if they're about sex and they're just going to be smashing you and you thinking you're building something with that person and they're not giving you anything. I never said I was looking at you like that. You like, but you were calling me, you were hanging out with me, you were sleeping with me, you were taking me on dates. He was like, well, I never said I want to be in a relationship, did I? And so I don't ever want to be the reason why a woman has to go through therapy.
Oh, so wonderful.
That's all about accountability. All about
accountability. So you have to wonder what Rashid was thinking, because this interview wasn't that long ago. So were the cards about to fall? The house of cards was about to fall, and I'm of course I'm not as heartbroken as they are, but the laugh and the joy and the smiles, it's hurtful.
Accountability and self-awareness to know where you're at the different ages and stages that we're at.
You gotta wonder what Rashad was thinking at that moment. You gotta wonder. Look at that smile, though. Look at it. Man, I'm upset.
Thank you, sir.
The world needs to see y'all crazy antics. So,
So There you have it. I pray, Rashad, I pray for you and Simone that you find healing and find wholeness whether you are together or apart. I think both of you are great people and flawed people. And maybe you might be a tad more flawed than she is. But I pray that this is it for you. That you don't find yourself here yet again. Because you're not the only one hurting. She is too. Your ex-wife is too. Your child is too. You got to stop it. You can't leave carnage in the wake of your insecurity. Fix it. You're handsome, you're smart. You're educated. Do something with it. Get a job. You're a salesman. Work in corporate. You can do that. And I'd be willing to bet if you would have came clean, she would have been behind you all the way. And I don't know what the future holds. I don't. But I'm praying. All right. That's all I got for tonight. So please like and subscribe. Share the video. I've gone longer than I thought I would, but it's so much here. So much here. Okay, like and subscribe. Thank you for coming through and watching. And, until next time, ciao for now.